Welcome to Shakespeare, the Sonnets, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about 35, sonnet number 35. Now, sonnet number 35, before we start reading it, or in this case, reciting it, we're going to have to go ahead and talk a little bit about what it's about. Here, it's about someone, in this case, we're assuming it's the young youth, going ahead and trespassing on our little Shakespearean friends. In this case, I'll just call him Shakespeare because he's the one who wrote this poem, sonnet, on his property and on his life too. However, here it says that he permits it, but we'll get into it once we actually go ahead and start reciting it. No more be grieved at that which thou hast done. Roses have thorns and silver fountains mud. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun, and loathsome canker lives in sweetest bud. All men make faults, and even I in this. Uprisings I trespass with compare, myself corrupting, salving thy amiss, excusing thy sins more than thy sins are. For to thy sensual fault I bring incense, thy adverse party is thy advocate, and against myself a lawful plea commence. Such civil war is in my love and hate, that I an unnecessary needs must be, to that sweet thief which sourly robs from me. Alright, first off, we have a few words to really talk about. Again, just like last time, staying here, this word means to darken something, which is also what we get in today's stories, in today's modern English. However, there it usually means when we put something on something else, like we spill a liquid, there's a stain on something, that means there's a little patch, a little mark from something. Except it's not a scar, it's a little remnant that can usually be washed away. And then canker here. Canker, not a lot of people know what it is. Not a lot of people don't know what it is. In fact, I had to read a book to really find it out about it. Canker is a canker water caterpillar, or kind of, should we say, pest? Because this pest eats flowers. It's a thing that eats flowers. So this line would literally mean, and loathsome canker lives in sweetest bud. It's a canker worm. That's the official name. He just shortened it to be able to compare it to this, where he goes ahead and it's being eaten by this flower. In this case, the heart is eaten by this canker worm. And then uprisings I trespass will compare. Like, you went into my life without me actually letting it happen, but then, well, I allow it. It's okay for me. In my opinion, it's the best thing that has ever happened in my life. And with that, we have a few more things to do, too. Excusing thy sins more than thy sins are. That means making more excuses than actually counting how many things you did wrong. For to sensual's fault I bring incense. This means perhaps that physical fault, my physical fault here, is actually the thing that let you in. And against myself a lawful plea commence. Such civil war is in my love and hate. I'm not sure whether I need to hate you or to like you, because we're technically sort of like frenemies. We have a few frenemies at school too. And with that, we have a few more things to really talk about. That I and unnecessary needs must be means as I need to be like this, as unnecessary as I'm an adversary here. That sweet thief which sourly robs from me. To you who literally takes things away from me. However, one more note here, sourly robs are supposed to sound a little similar here, sourly and robs. However, in the modern pronunciation, it doesn't really do that well, does it? Well, in the olden days, people are like, softly robs, something like that. I mean, it's old English, people. And with that, here's the quick summary of sonnet number 35. You have entered my life, as roses have thorns, and silver fountains of mud. You also have little faults in yourself. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun. The clouds and the eclipses go ahead and get their marks on the sun, but it's not permanent. And loathsome canker lives in sweetest bud. It's a metaphor here. It's a metaphors. These line, no more grieved at that which thou hast done. That's not the metaphor. Roses have thorns and silver fountains of mud. That's a metaphor for saying all things have at least a little fault inside of them that makes them not as perfect as they should be. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun. The moon and the sun are perfect in every way, except for the fact that sometimes clouds cover the sun, sometimes the moon, and eclipses cover the moon and the sun at times. Also, they're not permanent. And loaves and canker lives in sweetest bud. This is another metaphor to go ahead with the "you are also not very perfect" analogy. Here, saying in this case, it's that the canker worm is always in every bud, so every bud is never always perfect. All men make faults, even I in this. Everyone makes mistakes, even me, who seems to not make mistakes. In fact, you're probably the biggest mistake I've ever made. But then again, I'm letting that mistake happen. I'm letting you corrupt me into actually liking you, and with that, we have a few little relationships to really talk about. And I will let you do it because I actually want you to do it. Everything has a fault. Even me. So that's it for today. I really hope you guys did enjoy this episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, Shanano, peace. Bye-bye. No more be grieved at that which thou hast done. Roses have thorn, and silver fountains mud. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun. And loaves and canker lives in sweetest bud. All men make faults, even I in this. Authorizing thy trespass with compare. My self-corrupting salving thy amiss. Excusing thy sins more than thy sins are. For to thy sensual fault I bring incense. Thy adverse party is thy advocate. And against myself a lawful plea commends. Such civil war is in my love and hate, that I and necessary needs must be to that sweet seat which sourly robs from me. Bye.